Rent to rent won't always work. Here's why. Hello, my name's Mark Fitzgerald. It's great to have you joining me here. Rent to rent is a fantastic strategy, as we all know, and people are out there trying to negotiate deals, trying to do deals with landlords, trying to do deals with agents. And whilst it works really, really well with the likes of the properties HMOs, houses of multiple occupation, where you let the properties out on a room by room basis, and of course, serviced accommodation, which are more of your holiday lets or on a commercial basis as well, with contractors staying in them. But the one thing is, and I will say this to you because of my experience and everything, it doesn't always work. Rent to rent doesn't always work. Now, in our minds, or in my mind, should I say, I always think to myself, why wouldn't it work? You know, what would a landlord not like about a guaranteed rent, about minor maintenance issues being covered, and about their property being looked after basically as if it's my own? What's not to like? Why would they not agree to just hand their property over, their £100,000, potentially £1 million property over to me and let me manage it? Because there's a lot of people out there that don't know what they're doing, unfortunately. There's a lot of people out there that aren't going to be as good as you. And unfortunately, the way the world is now, there's a lot of people out there that are being taught and shown how to do this very, very poorly, or are just running around making a really bad job of it. And actually, landlords, it's costing them money. It's putting them off. And of course, in the press, you're not going to hear how great a rent-to-rent business is doing and how well it's serving its landlords, are you? You're going to hear how a landlord's been ripped off, how their property's been smashed up, how everything's gone to pot, rather than the good stuff. So more and more, rent-to-rent is getting a bad rep, which is why, you know, calling yourself a rent-to-renter is not probably the greatest thing on the planet, unfortunately. I would like to see a change in this, and I am actually behind the scenes trying to work towards, you know, potentially some sort of accreditation for rent to rent coming in, some sort of process or procedures coming in that people actually have to jump through a few hoops to prove that they know what they're doing before they start doing rent to rent. Why? Because then it will bring that level up and it won't give us all such a bad name. Okay, now there's a lot of landlords out there that have done successful rent-to-rent deals with people and done really, really well. But it just won't work for some people. And why? Well, for the reasons that I've just spoken about, but also some landlords just want top dollar. Okay, some landlords are self-managing and they just want all the money for themselves, and that is fine. They then think that they can get all of that money off of you in a guaranteed rent, which again is fine, but then there's no room for you to actually make any money. So they don't actually look at the real picture. They're just selfish at the end of the day. And that's their prerogative to be selfish. It's their property. They bought it, they own it. It's their right to be like that if that's what they want to do. But that doesn't help us. So we can't work with people like that because it's not a win-win. Okay? So next, you've also got people that have been burnt before. People that maybe have used this sort of service before. They've given it to somebody, then they haven't had the guaranteed rent paid to them. They've been given the property back and it's been trashed and it's just been a whole mess. Now, some people won't openly tell you that that's what's happened in the past. They'll just try and avoid you and they won't enjoy it. They won't have liked it. They'll have liked the idea at the beginning, but then somebody's executed it really poorly and put them off. So you might find somebody like that maybe you can talk to, maybe you can build up rapport with. Maybe you can get that know, like, and trust going with them so that eventually then you can actually try and build up a bit of a relationship with them and maybe change their mind. But sometimes it's just gone too far and it's not going to happen. So again, those are people that we can't work with, that won't work with us. But we won't always know that they won't work with us for those reasons. They'll just put everything down, say it's all a scam and everything without justifying why they're actually saying it. And some landlords, of course, that are used to working with agents, and the agents have done a bad job. It's not even a rent-to-rent operator out there that's done a bad job. It's an agent. Agents let their properties get run down, agents not looked after the tenants there, agents potentially not even paid them, ripped them off. Then all of a sudden, we're coming in there saying that we can actually be better than an agent, we can do more than an agent, we can take it to the next level. Their head's about to explode and they must be like, this is too good to be true. They must be lying. They can't possibly be doing this. This seems too good to be true. And at the end of the day, wouldn't you think the same? So we have to almost put ourselves into the agent's or the landlord's shoes in some cases to say to ourselves, listen to what you're saying to people, listen to what you're offering people, but do it with open mind. Do it in such a manner that you're thinking to yourself, if somebody like my good self was saying this to me, and you may think, oh, I believe it, because you know you're going to do it, but they don't. So until we actually start working with people, they don't know we're going to deliver, how we're going to deliver, and what we're going to deliver on. You know, we're going to make sure that we're going to deliver on what we say. We're going to make sure that by our actions. And they're going to really, really, hopefully love working with us. Now, not all deals go that way. Sometimes the landlords want to keep meddling. Whilst you've taken the property on and you've agreed that you'll manage it, you'll run it all, you'll give them updates and everything, they can't leave it alone. They still want to know the tenants there. They still want to sign ASTs. They still want to be there. They still want to examine the properties and stuff like that, which is fine to a point, but there has to be a cut-off point. And if some landlords, and I know people who've done rent-to-rent deals, of course my students have as well, where the landlords are still trying to meddle and get in there and meet the tenants and all of this. And tenants don't really want to speak to everybody unless they've got a problem. What they actually want to do is just live in the property and get on with their lives. So it doesn't always work like that as well. So if you've got a landlord who wants to meddle and you think it's going to be a pain at the beginning, don't do a deal with them. Don't get into a 3 to 5, 7 year deal with a landlord that you think could be a pain, could be awkward to work with, because it'll just be a complete and utter nightmare. And I always teach my students and say to them, the landlord is as important as the property. And I'll say that again, the landlord and their personality, their persona and how they are is as important as a good property and a good property deal. If the property is brilliant, would make you a fortune, cash flow really well, tenants would love it, or holiday makers would love it, depending on what strategy you're choosing to do. If the landlord's not on the same wavelength as you, I would walk away. There is no property and anything like that that's worth doing if you cannot get on with the person that you're going to be in this deal with. Okay, even if you think that they're not really going to be in a deal or anything, you still got to go with your gut. You still got to want to work with them. Okay, really, really important now. It's really, really important. And if you need any help with the strategies that I'm talking about here, the HMO strategy, the serviced accommodation strategy, then visit thepropertyunleashed.com and we have ebooks, 10-step guides, all free of charge that you can download now, and you can read about these strategies and learn more. Pick up some tips and tricks. Maybe you've already started these strategies. They also go along the lines of the training courses that we offer as well, the Rent-to-Rent Business Builder program and the Ultimate Serviced Accommodation Business Builder training program as well. These are blueprints that take you from very beginner to 6-figure property business owners. They take you through the whole process of how to set yourself up for success, and we coach and guide you at the same time in our community and on our coaching calls as well. It really is a fantastic package to be looking at. But let's get back to the video here, and this is just really saying that you're going to get more no's when you're trying to do deals than you are yeses. Now, you may go out there and get 3 yeses and think, what's he on about? This is easy. Trust me, there's a lot of no's around the corner. And no's aren't a bad thing. No's will actually help you, because what they do is they are a stepping stone towards the next yes. So for every no that you get, just think of that as another stepping stone towards the yes. I see people get disheartened too quickly. Don't worry about that. You know, they maybe speak to a few landlords or a few agents and they say the wrong thing and they think, oh, I've messed it up. Doesn't matter, it's all learning at the end of the day. A lot of the time, people don't know you've messed anything up until you point it out to them. You might know you have, but just keep going. Keep going with it, and they may not have even noticed what you've said as well, because a lot of the times when people are talking to you, they're not listening to you. They're just listening for the things that they want to hear, and then they're ready to answer you. What you need to be doing when you're talking to landlords, and this is a whole different video, by the way, but when you're talking to landlords, or when you're talking to agents is you want to be listening as well as speaking, but let them talk more. And don't just be thinking, right, I need to answer with this, and have that foremost in your mind, and you're not really listening to what they're saying. If you have to pause when they finish and then just think, yeah, it's a good question. That's always a good way to answer. That's a good question. Have a little think and then answer. I used to try and rush into the conversation all the time. I know the answer to that. I want to say it. I want to say it. I want to say it. Wait till they stop moving their lips and I'll say it. Sometimes you even get so giddy you start talking over the top of them, which is never a good thing because that's just rude. So make sure the conversations flow. Make sure you give them time to talk, to open up, to know, like, and trust you, and you'll have a better chance of securing these deals. But rent-to-rent deals will not work with everybody. As good as we think they are, as well as they work for us, and we know what a great job we can do, not everybody else knows the same thing. So just go in with a very, very open mind, and rather than thinking, well, unbelievable, I can't believe they haven't gone for that deal, just think, that's just one of those people that rent-to-rent doesn't work for. And that's all I do. I don't give it any more thought. I move on to the next person, because the next person, it might work for them. If you've enjoyed this video, please feel free to share it, like it, subscribe, leave a comment, all of those good things. Equally, we have other videos on the Property Unleashed YouTube channel, and we have the Property Unleashed podcast as well. Head over to thepropertyunleashed.com as well for free tools and resources and more information about how we can potentially help you and get you started on your property business in the right manner, set up compliantly, ready to do business. Okay? Hope you've enjoyed this. Make sure you keep focusing on your vision. Keep chasing towards your goals, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.